and welcome to Quadratic. In this video, we are going to learn how we can access an array in zigzag order in Python. In top left corner of the slide, this is an image of an input which is a two-dimensional and the output of the zigzag order should be reading element starting from 1, then 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 7, 5, 3, 6, 8, and then 9. So before we start programming, I want to show you how my algorithm will work iteration by iteration. So here, as you can see, a few lines of code, and this is an input array that we will be reading. So input array is shown here in the second image, and it is again, as I told you before, that it is a two-dimensional array. If you know, in Python, the indexes start from 0. So this input array will be having number of rows and columns starting from 0 to 2. We are going to start iterating through number of rows and columns. First, we are going to sum the current number of row and column. We will be holding the answer into some variable. Under each iteration of columns, which is j, we will be checking if sum remainder 2 is equal to 0. If condition is true, we will be inserting at the beginning of new array. New array is shown here in the last column of the image, and if the condition of if is not true, we will be appending new element in the new array, and sum will determine which element needs to be filled. So first I have created a new array. Each element is an array itself. At the beginning, our I is equal to 0 and j is equal to 0. Okay, we are going to sum I plus j. The answer is 0. If 0 remainder 2 is equal to 0, yes, insert new element, where let's see in this line we are going to insert a new array of 0. So sum right now is 0. So we are going to insert new array of 0. What we are going to insert at 0 position? Matrix of ij. Ij are 0, 0. So we are going to pick the 0, 0 element and insert it in new array of 0, as we have done here. Next iteration, when j is equal to 1 and I is still 0, because we are under iteration of each column. So in this iteration, when we update the sum variable by adding I plus j, so j's new value is 1, and update sum variable, we get 1. And if we take 1 remainder 2, its answer is 1, which is not true for this if condition. So we will be jumping to the else box, and here what we are saying that in new array sum, which is 1, new array 1, append matrix of ij. Matrix is this table, and we are pointing out ij's element, which is 2, 0, and 1. So append this in a new array of 1. Keep moving on the next iteration, when j's variable is updated to 2 and some new value is 2. 2 remainder 2 is equal to 0, which is true for this if block, and we are going to insert in the beginning of new array sum, which is new array of 2. So in the beginning of 2, we are going to add matrix of ij, which is 0 by 2 variable, and we have added 3. Moving on, next iteration, when I is moved to 1 and j has started from 0. So updating our new values for I and j, and according to that we have updated some value, which is 1, and 1 remainder 2 is equal to 1, and the if condition is false, so we have jumped to else block. Here we are saying the new array of 1, because some value is now 1. We are pointing to this element of array, and we are saying that append matrix ij. That's what we have done here. Moving on to next iteration, when I is still 1 and j has moved to index 1 and its current value is 5. Let's see how we are going to do with 5. Here, after updating ij and we have updated some value, its current value is 2. 2 remainder 2 is equal to 0, which is true for if block. And now we are going to insert in new array of sum. Sum is 2. So now we are going to point out to this element of new array. We are going to say that at the beginning of this array, add current value of matrix of ij. So current value is 5. That's what we have added here in the beginning of this new array of 2. Moving on to another variable, which is J2, and now our current value is 6. Let's decide what we are going to 6 according to our algorithm. After updating our sum value according to values of I and j, we check if 3 remainder 2 is equal to 0. No, it is not. It is equal to 1. So we have come out of the if block. We are going to append current value, which is 6, into array of sum, and sum value, current value is 3. So now we are pointing out to this element we have appended 6 in here. Now we have moved to the last row of the input array, which is I is equal to 2. Iteration through column has started from 0. Some new value is 2 according to ij's new values. 2 remainder 2 is equal to 0. Yes, it is. And now we are going to apply this line where we are going to insert at the beginning the new value, which is 7. And where we are going to insert, it is mentioned here. It is new array of sum. Sum new value is 2. At the beginning of this array, we are going to add 7. That's what we have done. Moving on to the next column inside last row. Now we are pointing out to this value, as you can see by the iteration arrows. So after updating ij value, our sum's new value is 3, and the 3 remainder 2 is equal to 1. So we have come out of the if block because the condition is false. We are going to now append the current value 8 into new array of sum. Sum's new value is 3, so we are going to append here. Whenever we are going to append, it will append the new value at the end of array. But when we insert and we say that insert the element at the beginning of array, so it will add at the beginning at position 0. So now we have moved to our last value, which is 9 from the input array, and ij's new values are 2 by 2, and sum's new value is 4. 4 remainder 2 is equal to 0. Yes, we are going to insert at the beginning this 9 value where new array of sum, and sum's value is 4. So we are pointing out here we have added 9 here. How do we know that how many arrays we need to create? It depends on the input. So always the total number of output arrays are equal to the total number of rows plus columns minus 1. So for example here, this is 3 by 3, and the 3 plus 3 is equal to 6 minus 1. The output array should be size 5. Why here? The total iteration is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if we iterate from 0, so the total cells to contain the output values should be 0 to 4. Now let's start programming. Here I am back to my Spyder, which is Anaconda's Python editor, and as you see here, I have already imported important libraries that I am going to use in this program, one of which is numpy, which is very important. The next library, sio, I will be using to write my output indices. So first we need to create our input, which will be two-dimensional array. I have created a two-dimensional array and its size is 3 by 3. After that, I need to know the exact size of number of rows and columns, and these rows and columns I will be using to iterate through. So my rows will be the matrix dot shape 0, and the columns will be its shape 1. Before we continue programming, I want to run my program written so far. As you can see, I have created my input array, which is type of integer 32 and its size 3 by 3. And if I click on my values window, you can see that 3 by 3 input contains values starting from 1 to 9. Now I need to create my output array depending on the number of rows plus columns minus 1. So my solution variable will be my new array, and I have created by running a loop over range of rows plus columns minus 1 starting from 0. Okay, let's run this line. So as you can see, I have created my array, and whose element is itself an array. So I am going to iterate through I, which will be iterating through rows, and j will be iterating through columns. As described in the program, first I need to create a sum variable, which will be sum of I and j. So as you can see in Spyder editor, that sum color is orange, which is because sum is a keyword itself, so we cannot use it. To avoid any confusion later in the program execution, we need to change this. So it is better approach not to use keywords as a variable name. So just adding another m, we are good to go. Next, we are creating our if and else block where we are saying that if sum remainder 2 is equal to 0, let's create first its complete block so that we don't miss any indentation. So in this if block, if condition becomes true, we will be adding in solution at the first. So we will add a new element from input array at the beginning of corresponding element in solution. So we are going to say that in solution of sum insert at position 0 the matrix value that exists on position ing, and in else block we need to say that add at the end of list, just append it. So we are going to copy this, and we are going to say that append the element that is existing on the position matrix I of j. All right, now we are good to go. Let's run this program. My solution variable is containing inputs in the form of list. So if I click on the solution values, you can see that it has total size of column plus rows minus 1 starting from 0, and each element of this solution is an array itself in the format of list, and each list is containing different values depending on the sequence that we have mentioned in our loop. Now we are going to create another loop that will shift all of the values from two-dimensional output in a linear array. So to do that, we are going to first create an output variable. We are going to create a loop over I over solution, and inside solution we are going to iterate through I. So here this loop will generate each element as a list inside I, and because as you can see that each element contains more than one number, so we need to create another loop to iterate through I. Now inside the J loop, we are going to append our output array that we are having inside J. And as we know that whenever we append an array, it generates a list. So before we proceed, we need to convert this into numpy array. Print this. Let's run this block. Let me take you back through the input array. So this is two-dimensional array as I showed you in the slides of iterations. The output should be in the sequence such as 1, 2, 4, then 7, 5, 3, 6, 8, and 9. And to verify that our current output is 1, 2, 4, should be 7 next. We have 7. Next 5, 3, then 6, 8, and the last element is 9. So to write the indices, I have used library of sio.savemat, and it will save our indices as a dictionary, and it will save in the format of file mat. So here I have created a dictionary format, and variable index will be carrying the output indices. I have written the code here, which is the same library sio, but to load a mat file you need to use load mat and the name of file. So before loading my mat file that I just saved above, I have created my console from scratch, and now you can see that there is no variable and my console is clear. I'm going to reload important libraries, then I am going to run these lines. First I'm going to create a holder that will carry my entire mat file. As you can see that the header is mat lab file format, and the type of data it contains is dictionary. And if I click on the values, you can see that the first three are the metadata about this file, and the last one is the actual variable holding our indices, which is 1 to 9. And if you want to save these values into another variable, the method is same as we do with CSV files, is mat holder, and in the braces inside we are going to mention the actual variable, and then let's run this line. Okay, as we can see here, our indices variable is created now, which contains our indices that have come from our mat file. This is it for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you find it helpful. If you did, do like and share. Also subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video. If you have any suggestions, leave them in comments section. I will do consider it. Thank you.